What's up, guys? It's Jade. So this isn't my normal thing. Usually I'm all preppy, happy, sparkly, goofy, whatever. Today I'm more dark and moody and depressed. Now today I want to tell you guys a story, my bullied story. You know, about me being bullied throughout. Most of you guys, if you haven't seen me before, you would think I would be bullied. And then there's some people who would be like, maybe a little, but it'd probably be out of jealousy or something, you know? Well, honestly, I've been bullied ever since I was in elementary school, second grade, till high school, and even, it's not as much as in college, because, I mean, people have grown already, but, you know. So I just want to warn you right now, it's going to be depressing. There are going to be some things that are violent, things that will make you cry. There are going to be a lot of graphic things that I'm going to start talking about. So if you can't handle any of that, I suggest you don't watch this video if you can't handle it, or sit with someone who you trust. And I also suggest that if you are getting bullied, or if you know someone who is, get them help and help them. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey, okay, so the first part of my bully story probably goes back to second grade. For those of you who don't know, December is a very hard month for me. And the reason it's very hard is because of the fact that my mom, my biologic mom, was born in December on the 8th, which is a few days away, and my sister, her birthday is today. So, reason December is a hard month, January is also, but that'll come in a later video. December is hard because my mom's birthday is in December, and she passed away when I was young, very, very young. She passed away when I was 3, so I was a baby, you know. I hadn't even met her, didn't even know her, didn't have any comprehension of her whatsoever. And so, you losing your parent at that young age, most people would tell you, well, hey, you know, that's not too bad because you didn't really know them like that. But seeing it as a child, as I was, it was very, very difficult because I never got to know what my mom was like. I never got to know what her favorite foods were. I never knew, you know, what she loved to do, what her favorite hobbies were, what her favorite songs were. I mean, my dad would tell me, but I wanted to know for myself. I wanted to ask her, and I couldn't, so it was hard. Getting back on track, second grade started everything off for me because of the fact that in second grade, you know, this is around the time where it had just happened, and so I was getting into a lot of trouble at school. I was going to a private school at that time, Lake City or Green Forest, I can't remember which one, but I think it was Green Forest. You know, I had been ridiculed by many of the classmates and people that I thought were my friends. I got pushed off of the stage when I was supposed to be doing dance practice. One of the boys thought it'd be funny to push me off the stage when I couldn't jump off the stage like the other little girls because I was terrified. And it was a big stage too. It was about this high, maybe a little higher. And he pushed me off, and when he pushed me off, I cracked my head open. I had to go to the hospital and get stitches, about 12, I think. I still have the mark right up here from getting pushed off. And it was so bad that when I went back to school, I mean, my clothes were bloody, you know. I couldn't really remember everything that happened, but I remember getting pushed off the stage. That memory will never leave. So it was very heartbreaking, you know, it was sad. The kid got beat to a brick by his father, for sure, for doing that, because he shouldn't have done it. But, I mean, kids will be kids. Kids will do stupid stuff. There was this other girl who got into a fight with me for no reason. I honestly don't even know why. Me and her used to be friends, and she took my necktie and threw it in the trash and said, nobody wants to be your friend, you should just leave and stuff like that. And so she threw it in the trash. And I got mad at her and I pushed her, and she tried to push me into a trash can, and I was not having it, so I grabbed the nearest thing I had, which happened to be a textbook. Now, looking back at this, that was stupid. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I mean, bad temper. Anyway, I hit her in the face with the textbook, and she hit the locker, and we were fighting, and just happened to be right outside of the principal's office. So, got into a world of trouble, you know. Luckily the principal, you know, he knew my parents, so he talked to them, and it was just crazy, you know. Let's see. So, used to bite people, too. Used to hit and bite people, especially bite people. Biting was a really bad thing for me, especially this one time. This kid was trying to talk to me or whatever, and I ended up attacking him. I ended up biting him on like his arm, back, something. And my teacher tried to get me from under the table, and I was just horribly bad. Like, they would have to send me to the principal's office almost all the time, or they would have to send me to this other lady's classroom, this preschool teacher's classroom, just for me to behave. I don't know, that was also the time where I realized that I was really good with kids, because being in that preschool classroom so much taught me, hey, I'm really good with kids. I'm really good at making them listen, you know, showing them what to do, how to act, and it's great, you know? That's something I actually was inspired to do, since, you know, other things were hurtful. So, that went on for a few years, so now let's talk about middle school. Alright guys, now we're on to middle school. Middle school was one of the hardest parts of my life. Honestly, between middle school and high school, I don't know which one's worse, but probably middle school. Here's why middle school's so rough. Middle school, for everybody, is rough already. It's a new chapter. You're going into junior high, and there's a whole bunch of new trends, a whole bunch of new things. You're growing up, you're maturing, you're hitting puberty. For a girl, you're starting your period. Sorry, boys, if you're watching this. And for guys, your hormones are going crazy, and you're staring at girls in different ways. Don't act like you haven't done it. Anyway, now, moving on. Middle school was very rough, starting with 6th grade, because, you know, 6th grade is crazy. You're just starting out middle school. You're thinking, oh, middle school is going to be awesome, until it isn't. My middle school years were the worst, and honestly, if I could forget them, I would, but they've been etched so far in my head that I will never, ever forget them. So, 6th grade was the year, you know, I just started meeting people for the first time. I somewhat started getting out of my shell, but not really. You know, I was a bookworm. I was the type of student who, yeah, I mean, I didn't really do my work as much as I should have, but I still did my work. You know, I was a bookworm, always reading books, always doodling, always, you know, I was the shy person in class. I wasn't really the person who was up and out there unless I really knew a person and was really talking to them. I was the smart kid of the class also. So if it was something I was actually interested in, I would talk about it non-stop. I'd be the first person to answer, the first person to want to read, you know. I'd always raise my hand to answer questions. I was that type of person. And, you know, it's crazy when you get bullied so much that things that seem normal change and you are completely different. You turn into this whole other person that nobody even recognizes anymore, you know? It's strange. So 6th grade is around the year. It's my first beginning year, you know. I was in special classes. I wasn't special ed, okay? Special ed is everybody thinks that special ed is for those people who like don't know anything, the person who drooling on the table. Not all of us were dummies, okay? I had a 4.0 when I left high school. I'm not a dummy. I just need to learn things a little slower than other people. That's all I had an issue with. And I'm willing to admit that was my fault, you know? I didn't learn as fast as other people, but I wasn't dumb. I wasn't stupid, I wasn't slow, I wasn't ignorant. I was a very smart girl, very smart. And I wish at the time when I was just in middle school that I had known that and tried not to be this other person that other people wanted me to be, you know? So anyway, 6th grade was rough. This is right around the time where, you know, I was just starting middle school, just getting into it, just learning, and I met my best friend in 6th grade, Deanna. She's my best friend, and we are still best friends to this day. There's been a lot of things that have happened over the years, but she will always be my best friend, honestly. I could go to her for anything and everything, and she could do the same for me, and it wouldn't even, you know, you could never expect anything less, I would say. So, 6th grade, I met Deanna, and we instantly became friends. It was like we were two peas in a pod. We were inseparable. We were like soul sisters forever, for life. And everything was perfect with us being best friends. It was just like we would have sleepovers, and we would sit together at lunch, even though she was in a different class than me. You know, things were great. You know, we would walk in the halls every morning and every evening when we leave. So, yeah, then you get to 7th grade and things get complicated. 7th grade was a very rough year. I didn't even stay at my middle school long because of 8th grade year, but we'll get to that in just a moment. 7th grade year was probably one of the roughest years besides 8th grade. 7th grade year was rough because all the boys and girls, all the mean girls and all the mean boys thought it'd be fun to start torturing me that year. All the popular kids, all the jocks, even some of the nerdy kids would start picking on me, which was very strange because you wouldn't think that, you know. And it sucks that middle school they have these labels for everybody. Everybody's got to be the popular girls, or they got to be the cheerleaders, or they have to be the jocks, or they have to be the nerds, or they have to be like, it's dumb, it's stupid. And at the time, I didn't realize how dumb it was that I was trying to be something I wasn't, you know? So, 7th grade. I honestly hate talking about 7th grade because it was horrible. Just like I hate 8th grade. 8th grade will be the worst, but 7th grade sucked. So, 7th grade. This was around the time where girls, you know, they want to try and one-up each other, get popular, everything. You know, they think everything's about them and everything. All the mean girls thought, oh, this is about me, this is everything, whatever. Well, it's not. So, there's a few instances where things have happened and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse until, well, you'll get there. For instance, one of the things that happened was, there's this boy, and in 8th grade I had enough of him and I finally got him back, but he would always torment me and torture me and say mean things to me. It was just really annoying, you know, having people just be so rude for no reason. And then there was these white boys that were always talking about me, trying to pick on me, and my best friend would tell them to leave me alone and back off. And every day I'd be so grateful for her because she was there stopping them from hurting me, but even still, the pain is already done. you know, the wound's already inflicted, so there's only so much you can do for a person. And there was another incident where these girls thought it'd be funny to talk about me at the table and spread lies, trying to get me and my best friend to break up as friends, you know? There was an incident where one of these girls, who I thought was my best friend, I had known her since elementary school, and she, ever since she got a new friend, she decided she wanted to hang with the mean girls and talk about me behind my back. And I thought it was so rude and disrespectful, because you can't be my friend and talk about me at the same time. That doesn't work. So she would tell them things and tell them secrets that I would tell her, and it's not fair that we didn't have a chance to make amends. But you know, people will be people. I have run into her multiple times this year, and every time I see her, I just think, could we really have made up and been friends? And every time I see her, she's still fake, so I guess not. You know? But things just kept getting worse, you know, being ridiculed and picked on every day in the hallways, going to class, at lunch. Ugh, lunch was the worst. And then at PE, ugh, awful. So one of the times I remember I was in a health class, and was it health class? Or it wasn't health. It was some class. Anyway, all I know is we were outside for something and there was a spider. I have a horrible phobia of spiders. The mean girls thought it'd be funny there was a spider, there was a dead spider on the chair. Now, everybody knew there was a spider on that chair, and it was dead, and it was huge. And nobody bothered to say anything about it. I think that happened in 6th grade. But the thing that made me mad wasn't the fact that they didn't tell me, but they let me walk around with it on my freaking pants for 5-10 minutes straight, and they were all laughing at me. And then what made it even worse was the fact that when I noticed it, I started running like a crazy person trying to get it off me, and the teacher had to calm me down because I nearly had a panic attack. It was horrible. I do not like spiders. They're my worst phobia ever. I don't care about anything else, but spiders, do not. Ever. No. And so everybody was laughing at me for like the entire day. And then don't even get me started on like Valentine's Day and stuff. Or there was this day where we had to bring like candy in for our classes. And everybody else got candy except me. I was the only person who got nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. And what made it awful was the fact that my teacher had to force some of the kids to give me stuff because they decided, oh, she'll be fine without this or that. There's no need for it. I was really skinny at the time also. I can tell you my exact weight from 6th grade to 8th grade because I did not eat anything. I will not even lie about that. I didn't eat anything. As a matter of fact, when I did eat, it would be very little. It would be bread, maybe some rice. That was it. I really wouldn't eat. I'd eat junk food before I eat anything real. I wouldn't even eat junk food, honestly. I didn't eat anything. I would go to lunch and not even eat my lunch because the ridicule and the pain was just too much to bear. It was just too much. It was awful. I would literally starve myself before eating anything. Like, before my sister was born, I wouldn't eat. Like, I would come home, maybe eat a snack or so, but when I went to school, I wouldn't eat. Wouldn't eat breakfast, wouldn't eat lunch. Maybe eat some dinner, but that's it. When I first started middle school, I was maybe like maybe 80 pounds when I first started. By the time 6th grade ended, I was 70, 75. And maybe it doesn't look like a big jump there, but when I got to 7th grade, I was 60 pounds. And when I got to 8th grade, I was 54 pounds. I literally kept dropping pounds. Like, at the end of 8th grade, I managed to bring my weight back up to 60, but the fact that I was so skinny, I was almost anorexic. Like, my teacher was kind of worried about my weight every so often because he was like, your weight will be really high and then it'll drop. And it'll drop not little, it'll drop a lot. And my teacher would ask, like, do you eat anything? Or you know, what's going on? And, you know, I just didn't have the heart to tell my teachers or anything. So, yeah, 7th grade was rough, very, very rough. But 8th grade was the worst. All right, now 8th grade, the worst year of them all, honestly, in my opinion. 8th grade, the roughest patch of them all. This has got to be the worst year ever in life. Last year of middle school, getting ready to go to high school, having a lot of stuff to worry about. So, there was so much that happened this year in 8th grade. I can't even name it all, but I'm gonna name the key points. 1, that boy that I told you guys about earlier, the one who was tormenting me in 6th and 7th grade. Well, he would call me names, call me like alien and weirdo and creature and all these other weird things. I forget the names he called me, but it was so stupid. I chased him around the freaking classroom with a chair. Now, I know I sound crazy, but I had a really bad temper, okay? I chased him around with a desk because I was about ready to beat the crap out of him. Let me tell you, I had had enough of people torturing and saying things about me and thinking they were gonna get away with it. So, one day we're going to gym, and I have my gym bag, and, you know, he tried to trip me. No, he did trip me. And so I hit him in the arm, right? And so I'm walking down the stairs and he throws his gym bag and it hits me and I fall down the stairs. So my immediate reaction was, I didn't get him back. So this happened like at the middle/end of my 8th grade year. Well, middle because I didn't even stay at that school after that. But so in class he kept calling me alien and creature when we were in gym class, and finally I'd had enough. So I walked over to him and his little entourage of girls that were hanging around him, because apparently he was one of the popular boys, which I couldn't see that happening, but you know, whatever. And I slapped him across his face and told him straight up, I'm sick of you torturing me, leave me alone, and don't mess with me ever again. Or the next time is gonna be worse. He didn't say a word. The whole entire gym heard that slap across the room because that, you know, gymnasiums are huge. And the fact that it was dead silent when it happened was even worse because everyone turned their head that way. I went back, sat down at my spot in the gym class. Gym class went on, and after gym, you know, of course one of the girls had to go back and tell the gym teacher that I slapped their little friend in the face, and I got in trouble for it, but things will be petty. Another crummy thing that happened was there was a guy I liked, and me and him are still friends to this day, but I wanted to tell him how I felt about him, and I didn't know how to, and the girl who I thought was one of my friends, who turned out to be fake, went back and told the mean girls. So the mean girls, I was sitting at the table with my best friend, and the mean girls were like, oh, so we heard you like such and such, maybe we should tell him. And as soon as he walked over, one of the girls ran over and told him, and you know, he didn't know how to react. So immediately I was pissed off and angry and hurting, you know, so it just made me angry. Another thing that was pretty suckish was one day I went to lunch, speaking of, and I went and sat at the table where the popular girls usually sit. At this point, I was angry. I was I already had a bad day. I didn't feel like, you know, hearing what anyone else had to say. Plus, there was a lot of things that were going on back at home. You know, my parents were having some of their little arguments here and there, and it was just pretty bad. It was pretty rough. So, sitting at lunch, just didn't feel like talking to anyone. And then all of a sudden, one of the popular girls comes over and she's like, "You're in my seat." I'm like, there's a whole table. Nobody has assigned seats. Next thing I know, she shoves me out of the chair and pushes my lunch on the floor. So I get mad and I start yelling and screaming at her. And the teachers, no, the principal walked in and he's like, "If you don't sit down, I'm gonna give you detention." And I'm like, you know, whatever. And so I go and sit at the other table. And then I end up walking out and going into the bathroom, and I start crying in the bathroom and screaming because I'm like, this sucks. You know, life is horrible because these people are such jerks. You know, things were just awful. And my best friend came in the bathroom to try and calm me down, but I was like, no, this is awful. These people just think it's okay to bully people every day and torture people and do all these horrible, awful things. Call them names like the B word and slut and the H word and all these other things. I think that it's not gonna hurt them, you know? And it was awful. It was absolutely awful. Then, to make it worse, there was this little midget. I freaking hated him. Everything in my body, I hated him so much. Because he was evil. So he and his little entourage of friends, when we were in history class, decided they would make paper hockey pucks. And hockey pucks hurt like crap already. Paper hockey pucks are just as horrible. So, one of them decided to throw it at my head in the middle of class. I started screaming at him in class, and my teacher, you know, his wife was the 6th grade, what is it called? Not administrator, counselor. So, you know, he was just trying to tell me to calm down and everything, or whatever. I go to my connections class, careers, and my mom had just bought me these Uggs. He drew on them with permanent marker. Had me about ready to have a fit because I had just gotten them. And then people were making fun of them, talking about they're all so old and nasty and whatever. And I'm like, I just got them. How can you say that? This one other kid was begging me for money all the time. Then these mean girls played a really bad prank on me. They gave me this guy's number telling me that he was into me or whatever, that he really, really liked me. And my dumb self fell for it. So, you know, I text the guy, no response. So the next day I see him, and I'm like, "Did you write this?" And he's like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "So you have no clue who I am?" He's like, "No, I don't know you. I've never met you until today." And I'm like, okay. Because they had an upperclassman give it to me, which was even worse. And it sucked. It literally sucked. This was when I was in 7th grade. It sucked because they pulled a prank on me. And to make it worse, this is right around the time when I got my first iPod or whatever, my iPod 5 or whatever, and it was terrible because that's when people used to use text now, and it was awful because those same mean girls that pranked me called me on that number and were calling me horrible names like B word and you're a slut and all this other stuff and all these fake things, and they were just terrible, evil girls, and it was just horrible. Another thing that happened was this girl that I was supposed to go trick-or-treating with, she ditched me on Halloween. She told my parents that she would keep me safe, and she left me by myself to roam around my neighborhood that I did not know very well. This was 6th or 7th grade. I did not know my neighborhood well, and I ended up ripping my stockings. She tried to steal my candy. I ended up almost having to hitch a ride to find my house. Like, it was a bunch of things that happened, and it was horrible. It was deplorable. It was awful. And then one day in 8th grade on the bus, my bus driver was really nice. I really liked him. He was awesome. She was adopted, and to her family, she's raised by a white couple, and she's black. So she had told me this, and I never thought anything of it. I thought it was cool that she was, adopted and being raised by, a white couple or whatever. So one day, I'm on the bus, and I had a really bad day. I think that was the day that jerk of a boy had pushed me down the stairs or whatever. And she was like, oh, why are you being so emotional over there? Why are you being so this and that? And I was like, can you please just leave me alone? I really don't want to be bothered. And she was like, oh, well, you know what? It's okay. Because you know what's amazing? She's like, you know what? I think I know the reason why your mom isn't here anymore. I think I know the reason why she left. She left because she doesn't love you, and she doesn't want to be here anymore around you. And that broke me so much. I was crying. I was about ready to kill her. The bus driver had to slam on the brakes because I was about to break her neck. I was about to kill her. Let me tell you something. I was about to kill her. If I'm being directly honest, I was going to kill her because I don't like anybody saying anything about my mother. I don't care if it's a joke or whatever. I will break you if you say anything about my mom. So the fact that she said something so dark and devious and had the nerve to laugh about it in my face, knowing that was something private and emotional, was awful. The bus driver slammed on the brakes, took us back to the school. We had only just pulled out. Took us back to the school, called the administrator, and then she had the nerve to fake cry in front of the administrator saying that I was making fun of her for being adopted, which was a lie. She was such a liar. And the other, a lot of girls were telling me that, you're worthless, you don't need to be here, you should just, one of the girls, I really hated her. She would bully me all the freaking time. And it got so bad to the point because one time she had said, oh, you should just kill yourself, you should just leave. And it was awful, being tormented like that for years and years and years, and then it finally just built up until you just can't have enough. And then in gym class, this was probably my second to last day at that school because I went to gym. The girls were bullying me as usual, and one of my friends, who wasn't really my friend, the fake friend, who was like, oh, she told the guy that I liked him and everything. Well, she had said the same thing that the girl on the bus said. And she had said some other things that she shouldn't have said. And my best friend heard her and was like, why would you say something like that? That's so rude. And my best friend was trying to calm me down. She's like, hey, you know what? She's just being a jerk. That's all she is. She's just one of those fake people. Don't worry about her. Just calm down and we'll go and talk to somebody about it, whatever. At that point, I had had enough. I couldn't take it anymore, and I told her, you know what, this is it. This is stupid. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to live like this anymore. And I told her, you know what, it's whatever. I can't do it. So I ended up running out of the building, and she tried to scream and chase after me. This is when our buses were called. I got on the bus and cried the entire way home. I got home, and of course nobody was here because my mom, she's a doctor, and my dad, he's a manager, so nobody would be home for a while. So I went upstairs with a I was trying to think of a way to make it quick and just be over and done with it. But honestly, I didn't know what to do, So at that point, I just said, a knife, and make it done with it. And I took the biggest knife I could find, and I took it upstairs to my room, and I sat it right next to me, and I was literally contemplating life at that point because I was like, I don't know if I want to live anymore. I really don't. I was really sick of life at that point. I was tired of being tormented and tortured for nothing, for being myself. For what? And so at that point, I started writing notes that I was really about ready to put on a video and send to everyone who had ever done me wrong. And I sat there holding the knife for a good hour, just sitting there thinking, is this really what I should do? And my sister had just been born at that point. You know, either my mom was pregnant with my sister or she had just been born. I think she was pregnant with her, I don't know. But I was like, you know what, my sister's about to be born. My dad is going through a lot. My mom is going through a lot. I can't do this to them. So I chose to be the smart person, and I chose to be smart about my decision and not do it. But some people just don't have the willpower like that to not do it. So, yeah, it's rough. Ended up leaving that school, and now we're gonna get into why I didn't go to traditional high school. Hey, so now we're on to high school. High school was pretty rough. So after all that stuff happened in 8th grade, and I went through my whole suicidal phase, couldn't go back to that school, obviously, because my parents were worried sick. The counselor literally had to call them and tell them everything that had happened. A whole bunch of people had wrote notes to the counselor trying to help me. Another thing that happened in 8th grade, sorry, almost forgot about this. A boy tried to set my hair on fire in science class. Twice.
You tell me that.
Yeah, he tried to set my braids on fire. He thought they were flammable. And then, yeah, 8th grade sucked. So my parents, they took me out of the school, and they took me out of that school maybe a week later. They took me out, and I went to a new school. It was a smaller school. It was okay, I guess. It was a bit rough because, I had my favorite teacher there, but I just had a knack for not behaving and listening. And since I was going through all that stuff in 8th grade, I just couldn't cope with going to a new school, getting away from my best friend, the only person I ever knew. And I spent 4 years at this new school, and 4.5 because I did the rest of my 8th grade year there too. My favorite teacher was there for a good minute, and then she left, which sucked. Anyway, so yeah, that was rough. So at this new school, there was a lot of things that happened. There was a lot of bullying that was going on. Guys would try to hit on me, which was kind of awkward. It was just different. There was a lot of things going on that were just too rough, and I didn't like it because I kept getting into trouble. And I thought the teaching method that I thought that my teacher was giving me was a little cruel, to say the least, because he wouldn't let me eat if I wasn't doing the work, and I would have to stand up. And then he put me in isolation 3 different times, and there was a lot of stuff going on. It was just horrible. It really didn't get okay until my senior year, honestly. Even then, it was rough. People were just jerks in general, but then I, met on here, and things, started getting somewhat better. I met him at my friend's dance show, and things, spiraled from there. People would always betray my trust. Me and one of my friends got into a really huge argument, and we weren't friends for a long, long time. And we are slowly rekindling our friendship again. It's taking a very slow process, but it's okay. And then there's these other 2 people that were trying to break me and Vaughn up, and one of them at least tried to apologize and make amends for it, but it it's going to take a while before I'm ready to let the person back in fully. As for the other person, they can suck eggs and kick rocks, okay? They can kiss my left butt cheek for all I care. I don't like them, okay? Anyway, you know, I've met a lot of new friends, I've lost friends, but you know what? The best thing about this is it has changed me into a person that I actually can be proud of. I'm healthy, I'm glowing, I have someone who loves me, I have my family, I have new friends that actually care, and I don't do any of those harmful things anymore. I used to have a lot of panic attacks too. I don't have them as often, but I try to balance myself out, you know. And as for being depressed, that one's rough. I'm still working on that. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still rough every so often. So, you know, sometimes I just don't feel like talking to people. Even sometimes I don't even feel like talking to my own boyfriend, and that's scary. And, you know, he still tries to push me to talk to him, even if I'm not feeling like it, even if I'm feeling like I don't want to talk to anyone or see anyone, you know. And I know a lot of people who are dealing with it too. All I have to say is, and this is getting ready to be the end of the video, guys. So, I just want to say that this is my bully story, you know. There has been a lot of things that have happened to me, a lot of times where I wanted to end it, a lot of times where I wanted to cut myself, multiple times that I haven't already done. You know, I've starved myself, I've contemplated hanging myself once. I mean, there's just a lot. I even thought about drowning myself at one point. It's just a lot of things that go through people's heads, so you really have to contemplate and think about how you treat people before you do things, because you don't know how badly it affects the person. You don't know what it does to them. You don't know if they have low self-esteem. I mean, honestly, and people do such horrible things to people. And it's even worse now, because now that we have gay people and lesbian people and bisexual and transgenders, now people think it's even more of a thing to judge people who are like that too. They're being themselves. They're being just the way they were made. So it's not okay for people to judge people based on that. And if you think it's okay, something's wrong with you. I'm not saying that I don't condone your opinion, but going so as far as to do stuff, to put hate crimes against them or doing crazy stuff like that is not okay, in my opinion. In my eyes, that's not okay.
Heads up, let this message be heard, because bullying still to this day is going on. Matter of fact, she ain't the only one. I was bullied as well, just as bad as her, and it was mainly through high school. But we're gonna get to that topic another time.
But yeah, all I want to say, guys, is if you see someone being bullied, or if you're yourself being bullied, find help. Find people who really care, who really want to be at your side. And if you can't find anybody, talk to a therapist. Somebody who you know and trust will listen to you. Talk to your parents. And if you can't talk to your parents or a therapist, just pray.
Put your trust in God.
Or if that's not something, believe in whatever your religion is. Or if you don't have a religion or don't believe in one, then start. Or just find something else that makes you happy, like music or dancing or singing or movies or acting, writing. When I was getting bullied, I would listen to music. I would do swimming. Swimming was amazing for me. It took all the pressure away. You know, I would write stories. I would doodle. I would do anything to get my mind off of what was happening to me. So I just want to leave you guys with that. I want to know you guys' thoughts and what is on your mind and what your bullied story is, and what did you do? Have you ever lost someone to bullying, or have you ever been bullied yourself? I want you to put it down below in the comments and tell me what you think about this and how you feel about this story and what I said. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Anyway, guys, I really hope that you guys listen to my story. And I know it's long. I know it's very long. I'm sorry about that. I just had so much to say and there was so much on my mind. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. And please comment down below on what your favorite part of this video was, or how you felt, or pretty much anything that you want to say. If you have anything on your mind, you say it. And whatever. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be posting another video tomorrow called On My Mind, which is a lot of stuff that I have to say and a lot of things that I'm feeling, about things that have been going on for the last few months or so. And whatever. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Tell me, how did you afford a surgery? Do you swear you'll stay forever, even if our face don't stay together?